Welcome back to the 3-hour-long podcast about why The Last of Us 2 is actually bad.
Today we have Mahler.
Today we have Mahler. Hey Mahler, have you ever made a video shorter than 3 hours? And he's like, no.
It's like, I need 3 hours to explain.
I need 3 hours to explain that one. I can't actually do. I don't know Mahler's voice.
It's like really deep. He's like, it's not like critical, but it's like.
His critical's voice is like stupidly deep.
Yeah, it's
almost like he's trying to make it deep.
Yeah.
You know. Did I ever tell you when I said there's no easy way to stop? I reminded myself. There's this episode of How I Met Your Mother. How I Met Your Mother was like the first TV show I like super binged. Like as a kid, as a leaping from kids shows to like regular sitcoms and stuff. That was the first one I like super binged. I don't know what yours was, but
probably
like,
The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, because like that's just like what you watch when you're 12.
Yeah.
But I've seen every episode a couple times. I don't know how the humor in that one is gonna age for me if I ever rewatch it. But anyway, because there's like so many like Barney doing funny sex things. Yeah. It's like Anyway, there's this one episode where Ted, the main character, he works architecture. He works in an architecture firm, right? Okay. And his boss is this super famous architect, and his boss designs this building for a tower in Spokane, Washington, right? And the building he designs, they never show it on screen, but but Ted is explaining it to his friends, and he's like, because the guy Hammond Druthers is like showing off the design. He's like this famous architect, so that's why they commissioned him, right? And Ted's describing the design, and he's like, it's a pink marble tower with a rounded top and two rounded entryways at the bottom, and they're like, so it's a penis. It looks like a penis, right? And he's like, it literally is a penis. So Ted has been like. Ted has been working on a design of his own on the side because it's like a passion project.
Yeah.
He doesn't like think Hammond Druthers' design is gonna fail. He just wants to work on his own design because he's like passionate about architecture or whatever, right? The day that the guys come in to see the design, they've built a model of it. So there's like a model on the table underneath a sheet, and they pull away the sheet, and the guy who's in there for them is just like, that's a penis. I'm not building a penis. Yeah. And he's like, and Hammond Druthers is like, no, you see, Hammond Druthers might have been played by Bryan Cranston now that I think about it. I'm thinking about his voice. I think it was Bryan Cranston that played him. I know.
I mean, that
was 2007.
Yeah,
so that was like, that was kind of like the beginning, the peak of his TV acting career because he did Breaking Bad, but. Yeah, that was definitely Bryan Cranston. And he's like, no, it's a marvelous, and he's like, that's a penis. It's just like the most like jarring, like kind of funny black businessman voice where he's like, that's a penis. And he's like, and then he goes, you got any other designs? And he's like, no, this is all we have. And he's like, they're about to leave, and Ted's like, wait, and she shows him his design, which is just on paper, and they like his design. So Ted becomes the lead of the project, which is like a plot line for the rest of season 2. And so Hammond Druthers is like his wife, like his wife leaves him. Is like his basically his life comes like crashing down, right? But the problem is Ted needs to fire him because he's just useless. His boss is telling him to like fire him, right? And he like needs to get rid of him, right? So he's having trouble doing this because. First, he learns his wife left him. He has this like phone call where he's like hysterical because it's going so badly, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, I've never understood that word, hysterical. We use it when you're really upset. It also just means funny.
I think it's like...
Is it a different word? Are they different words?
Well, no, they're the same word. I think it's like...
It just the context
when you're laughing like hysterically, like you don't have control over yourself. And when
I
you're
guess.
hysterical,
Okay, that makes sense. Just the way it's used as an adjective in two very different ways.
Yeah, it's like awesome. Like you can describe like a hurricane as awesome, like worthy of awe, but you can also... But it's like not
because
cool.
Like the power, yeah. So anyway... So at one point, Ted comes in super late because he like forgot a model he was working on, and Hammond Brothers is sleeping in the office because like his wife kicked him out and stuff, and he gets like the divorce papers, and like his wife says it's like it's sitcoms, it's like super exaggerated. His wife says he gets the remains of his dog. His dog is dead. He doesn't even know. It's like super fucked up, and and so Ted keeps saying, there's no easy way to say this. He's trying to fire him. He's trying to start the conversation, right? That's what I was trying to say at the beginning of this episode when I said there's no easy place to stop. And so he finally... and then it's Hammond Brothers' birthday, and like he's about to go, there's no easy way to say this, and the rest of the office goes, they start singing happy birthday, and Ted doesn't even know that it's his birthday, like, and they do like a surprise party for him, and Ted, but at this point, Ted's like going crazy. He like needs to fire him right now. So right after that, he's like, there's no easy way to say this, but you're fired. And then he starts having a heart attack, and he goes, oh, fake heart attack, huh? You're still fired. Fired. And he actually has a heart attack and goes to the hospital. And Ted is like, God, I am an awful person. Like, Jesus. Ted, the main, like, he spends so many seasons, funny Ash person. Funny Ash people. Alright. Ted, this is the boss fight for this one. This is boss fight for 5.
Yeah.
This mission was short, kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I forgot why. I don't even remember what boss this is.
It's the night guy on the horse.
Oh yeah, this one is cool.
Yeah, you fight 1 and 3, and V like makes a reference to Dante beating the 1 and 3, and he's like, I thought Dante already took this guy down, but
but and then you're like, how does V know that?
Yeah,
because he's like new.
Yeah,
smile.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when you watch sitcoms enough, and obviously the most egregious example of this is like all the people in Always Sunny are like horrible people, and like everybody knows that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Miko comes out of the ground, it's fine. But you watch the shows long enough and you're like, damn, these people are kind of like awful humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
To get into sitcom scenarios that kind of takes an awful person a lot of the times. Mm. But Ted was like,
skip that cut.
This is the same. Okay, this fight's really cool. This is the same season where Ted is the boss, and he goes, this lady who's like really overweight. She pulls like Ted's like telling this story about how like someone at their work quit because of something he said. She pulls like a roasted chicken up, and he's like, oh, you brought lunch for everyone? It's like a full chicken. She just starts crying, and they cut back to like Ted in the bar talking with his friends, and they were like, Ted, what the fuck's wrong with you? He's like, it was a whole chicken. Like, he's like, I didn't think she would eat a whole chicken. It's like, oh my, like, Ted, my God. You know the story, like, I tell now about that show, right? About the ending?
Yeah, about how it's just terrible.
So like, the premise of the show is Ted is telling his 2 kids how he met their mom, right? And he's telling this grand, elaborate, super long story because it goes over the course from 2005 to like 2013, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a wedding at the end of 2013 that's not his, but it's where he meets his wife, right? So, he goes through all his ups and downs. Like, he meets Robin. She's, like, the character that he meets that, like, is the catalyst for the show. There's 5 main characters. He was already friends with 3 of them, but he meets her. And he's like, oh, my God, I want to date this woman. It's like love at first sight or whatever. But they that doesn't work out. They just become friends. And she just joins their, like, group, right? And they get to know her and stuff. And she's really cool. She's probably one of the better characters in the show, I would say. Like, because like character writing is like pretty okay. But they actually do date at the end of season 1. At the end of season 1, they get together. They date for all of season 2. Ted dates this one girl in season 1. He dates this one girl in seasons 3 and 4. That like she leaves him at the altar. They're like about to get married. That doesn't happen. Yeah, so like you get the point. There's 9 seasons, right? So he finally meets the mother. Season 9. Honestly, a really ambitious idea for a TV show to do. What they decide to do is the entirety of season 9 takes place in a weekend. All 24 episodes takes place in like 2.5 days.
So yeah, that's crazy.
So the writing is like okay, but they have to keep up so many plot lines. They do a lot of flashbacks and stuff too, but that's really ambitious for a TV season, right? It is definitely the show's worst season, and there are a lot of episodes that are just boring because that is really hard to do.
Yeah.
But the mother, you see her way before Ted meets her. She's at the wedding because she's part of the wedding band. She's like the guitarist in the wedding band or something, right? And so there are episodes that are just about. There are a couple episodes that are just about her and her past, and those are super good. And you're kind of like, wow, they should have made like more of the season about her, because there's all this build up for this character that you don't meet for 8 years, and then suddenly you meet her.
Yeah.
Right? And she's great. They actually do a great job writing her, which is too bad because what happens is one of the whole reasons they meet is about this yellow umbrella that he's like always looking at. Ted like leaves at her place or whatever, because he dates her roommate, but he doesn't actually meet her. It's like a weird like destiny and fate and all that shit or whatever, right? By the way, you were crushing this fight.
Yeah.
You're just rolling this guy. This guy's attacks are pretty easy to deal with.
Yeah.
But anyway,
he like takes like half your health bar down, and Dante must die in like one swipe.
Wow,
like,
because he's not very strong.
Yeah, but he's just
that much. It's that thrust that does that.
Yeah,
right?
or like his like teleport like like, things he did.
I remember thinking that move was probably really threatening, but not actually ever getting hit by it. So not being too worried about it. Anyway, just to conclude, this has been me rambling about How I Met Your Mother, like the episode. But to finish that off, I'll just say, so they meet because like Ted's initials are on the umbrella, which are TM, Ted Mosby. But his wife, she has the same initials. Her name is like Tracy McConnell or something. I think that's it, but I'm not sure. But anyway, they meet and like they fall in love, whatever. Have the kids. I think Ted is like. When they meet, Ted is like late 30s, and I think she's way younger. She's like in her late 20s or something, which is like fine, right? It's just kind of like, feels kind of weird for the structure of the story for them not to like be a similar age. But one of the plot lines is he teaches architecture at a university for a couple of years at like some university in New York, and she's in one of his classes, but not actually. He goes to the wrong lecture hall and accidentally like starts teaching to all this huge lecture hall of econ students, right? And then he realizes what he did wrong and he goes to his actual class after that. But she saw him there, so like all these chance encounters and stuff, whatever. They flash forward to 2030, which is where the story is taking place. They meet in They meet in 2013, I think. And then you learn that in like 2023 or something, she just like got cancer and is dead, and she's like been dead for years.
What?
And you're like, oh my god, what?
You're like,
why did they write that that way? What the fuck?
You're like, you just wasted like all that time trying to.
Yeah, and then at the end Okay. I'm gonna finish the story in the next episode because we're about to get to a new mission. So next time, if you already know what happens in How I Met Your Mother, like the end, it's just ridiculous. We're gonna see next time.